John Ulzheimer is known as one of our nation's most recognized credit experts. Having worked for 28 years in the credit industry, John has become one of the most prolific speakers about credit and the go-to authority on answers to credit-related questions. Credit Countdown with John Ulzheimer.
Hey there, this is John Ulzheimer. I am a consumer credit expert. I've got almost 30 years of experience in the credit industry. I have spent time at FICO, which is the company behind the FICO credit scoring system, and Equifax, which is one of the three generally recognized credit reporting agencies in the United States. Coming to you today from driving to the gym, so I'm going to get my sweat on. So I have a few minutes to chat. Today we're going to talk about identity theft, but not for me and you. We're going to talk about identity theft of your child's identity. And you're probably wondering, whoa, what? Is that even a thing? How can a child be the victim of identity theft? Well, the fact that someone has an identity is what makes them a potential target. It doesn't matter how old they are. That's irrelevant. What's relevant is that they have an identity, meaning that they have a social security number, they have a name, they have an address, and unfortunately, there are very, very unscrupulous people out there that just don't care. They are willing to defraud anybody, whether it's your grandmother or whether it's your 5-year-old son or daughter. They are a target, and there are people that will just, without blinking, defraud them. So how do you know if your child has been the victim of identity theft? So there's a couple of ways, and specifically I'm going to talk about credit-related identity theft because that's my background. I'm a credit expert. But one way that you can kind of tell that your kid's information is quote unquote out there is if your child starts getting mail. I have a young child, and it's amazing the amount of mail that he gets from companies that don't even have a product for someone his age. So his information is already out there. How it got out there, there's probably a million different ways that it got out there. But the fact that it's now out there, that's the problem, because you can't quote unquote undo that, right? That bell has been rung. You cannot unring that bell. Credit-related identity theft for anybody really, but especially a young person. If you start getting any sort of information in the mail from lenders, and especially debt collectors, addressed to your child, don't throw that stuff away. Don't run it through the shredder. Open it and read it. Because what you want to make sure is that you want to verify that it is not information about newly opened accounts. It is not a bill or a statement from a lender, and it is certainly not some sort of attempt to collect a debt by a debt collector. If any of that stuff has occurred, then your kid is in the system, has gotten credit, and has defaulted on it. But it's not really your kid that's happened to. It's a fraudster that's done it to your kid. So if you're getting any of that information in the mail addressed to your kid, then unfortunately the answer is probably yes, that your child has been the victim of identity theft. So that's number one. Number two, you're probably wondering, how in the world can this happen? My child doesn't have a credit report. So how in the world can my child be the victim of identity theft if he or she doesn't have a credit report? That's a very good question. First off, you're not born with a credit report. A credit report has to essentially be created for you by the credit reporting agencies. And the way that occurs is it's called an inquiry-only credit report, meaning that when you apply for credit the first time, the credit reporting agencies are going to create a credit report for you, and that will be your credit report for all eternity. That does not happen automatically. For example, when your child is born, or when your child for the first time your child applies for something on their own, that's when that actually occurs. But it's not something that just happens accidentally. So what you're going to want to do is all three of the credit reporting agencies actually have programs whereby you can contact them and have them create a credit report for your child, and then you can freeze that credit report. And what that does is it essentially blocks the credit reporting agencies from recreating a new credit file in your child's name in response to some sort of a fraudulent application, and kind of fills the hole, if you will, of the credit report in their system, which means that if someone goes out and applies for credit in your child's name, they won't be able to open an account because the credit report has already been created and frozen by you, the parent. So that's something that I would absolutely suggest that you do, because it'll help you to prevent your child from being the victim, not from being a target of an identity thief, but certainly from being a victim of credit-related identity theft. And then when your child turns 18, he or she will already have a credit report established. They can unfreeze it, and they can, legitimately apply for credit and build credit and a credit score in their name. So if you have any other questions about identity theft, or especially child-related identity theft, drop them in the comment section below, and I'll do my best to get to them. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk again soon.
For more videos and credit tips from John Ulzheimer, go to www.tradelinesupply.com.